But we're going to talk about thinking notes. Some of you have done thinking notes in your language arts class, science class. Some of you have not. None of you have done thinking notes with me. I might do them a little bit differently than your other teacher, so I want to go through exactly what thinking notes looks like so that you can get points for it, because I give away points and I also give away tickets for people who do a little bit extra. Thinking notes, it says up here, is a way to read better. We know that observation drawing is slow and silent. It's about focusing. That's what thinking notes is like. It's about focusing, but instead of focusing on the details of an object, you're focusing on the details of what you're reading. So observation and thinking notes go together really, really well. We start a reading by thinking about, do I know the purpose? Why am I doing this reading? Our purpose for reading is up on the board here, but I'm going to go ahead and write it here as well. Our purpose for reading is to find out, why do we observe in art? So you know your reading is going to be about observation, finding out, why do we observe in art? In a minute, when you get your readings, I'll have you write that at the top so that as you go back, if you can't remember, it'll be up on your reading. Why do we observe in art? That's what you're always going to be thinking about while you're reading, your purpose. Why do we observe in art? As you read, there will be times that you find the answer to that question. It'll be clear. When you find answers, we call that evidence. So you make the letter E. Right now, I want you to put your arms in, like kind of wiggle your arms in the air, and use your arms to create the letter E in the air. That's what you write on the paper when you find evidence. Very nice, you can put your hands down. The next thing, sometimes stuff is confusing. I'm giving you a reading that I did when I was in college. So some of the words and some of the concepts might be a little confusing. So I want you to take 2 fingers in the air. If you're confused, you're going to take 2 fingers and draw 2 question marks. Go ahead and draw 2 question marks. Very good. That is all, or those are the first 2 steps. The next step is about when you have a question. Now, we're not talking about like, what in the world are you talking about? I don't understand. We're talking about a question like, do you really think so? Or do you really whatever? You have a question for them. You're not confused, you just want to know more. When you have one question, you put one, or when you just have a question, you put 1 question mark. So take 1 finger, draw 1 question mark in the air. Here's the extra that I like to do. I know some of your teachers probably don't do this. If you write out the question that you have, like I said, do you really? If you write that out, I'll give you a ticket. If you start writing out those thoughts that you're having onto your paper. The last part is OMG. Give me an exclamation point. OMG. That is so cool. If you write that out, I will give tickets for people that write out their OMG and their questions. So if you have a question, write it out. If you have a thought, write it out. So that when you go back to this in 3 or 4 minutes, if you go back to this next week, you will remember exactly what you're thinking because you wrote it down. Some people are thinking, oh, Ms. Bly, I got this. And some of you are thinking, I have no idea what we're supposed to be doing. I'm going to go through the first paragraph myself. You're not getting graded on the first paragraph, so don't even worry about it. Okay? But I'm going to go through the first paragraph. I'm going to show you things that I find are confusing, questions I have for the author, evidence that I found for you. You do not have to write anything down. You just get to sit and relax and watch. All right. It says, students in the art studio are taught to look more closely. That sounds to me like observation. That's really cool. That's like observation. That's one of our vocab words. I love that. So I'm going to write my little OMG explanation point there. To look more closely than people ordinarily do. They learn to see with new eyes. So observation is about seeing with new eyes. That sounds like the answer to that question. They are helped to move beyond their habitual ways of seeing. Habitual, I don't know what that means, so I'm going to put some question marks there. I'm going to put 2 because I'm really confused. Ways of seeing to notice things that might otherwise be invisible and therefore not as available. So seeing what is otherwise invisible. Now everybody laughs at me, but I think that this sounds like a superpower. So I'm going to write that down. So observation is like a superpower. Maybe too, if observation is like a superpower, that kind of answers that question too, why we're learning. So I'm going to put an E there too. and therefore not as available as something to think about. This is the skill of observation. So now I have finished my first paragraph. I already have 2 answers to that question and 2 OMG thoughts to it. Now I'm ready for my second paragraph, my third paragraph. Notice how slowly I wrote, how marked up the reading is. The reading is yours. We will glue them in. What I want you to do is go slowly and carefully through the reading so you really understand it. All right, we're going to go back one slide so that you have this reminder of what you're supposed to do. And I'm going to have you pull out your readings. They've already been passed out to your table. So take your reading, turn it over. You do not have to write your name at the top. But I want you to write that sentence. Why do we observe an art? Write that at the top. Some people like it on the back, and that's fine. Why do we observe an art? It needs to be at the top of your paper. We're going to do one more thing before you begin. So don't begin. The next thing we're going to do, and it's also on the chalkboard as well. Yes? Oh, I'm so sorry. The next thing we're going to do is number the paragraphs. This is not as important for shorter readings, but when you have really long readings, you probably want to number the paragraph. So numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. When you're done numbering the paragraph, you're going to begin the thinking notes. The thinking notes reminders are up on the back board, but I will also leave them up on the smartboard. I'm going to give you 6 minutes to do your reading and come around and see what you are working on. You may begin.
Taking notes.
All right. Remember the question. We now need to answer the question we just have been reading about. The question was, why do we observe an art? I want you to think about that. Go back and reread where you put little e's, or just think about it if you were a little confused. Think about, why do we observe an art? All right, turn to the people at your table and answer that question. Why do we observe an art? Go.
To realize its meaning.
David, come join us.
Oh, God.
So that we can see the details and its meaning, you know, why the artist decided to make.
So we can look at stuff differently and see the
Thank you. My fastest hand, Deanna. All right. Now I'm going to call on one person from each table to answer. If you don't know the answer, tell the answer that somebody else told you. If you really don't know an answer, don't remember, you can't say I don't know. You have to read me back a question on those blue posters. Mrs. Blythe, can I ask a friend? Mrs. Blythe, can I have more time? Mrs. Blythe, can I take a guess? Can I get a I'll start with a volunteer and then move to a new table. I need a volunteer to tell me why do we observe an art? Karina.
It lets you look at things in a different way and see things more closely.
Great, we're looking and seeing things in a different way, looking more closely. Charles.
It helps you see another way, I guess?
Yes, seeing in a different way, seeing another, like having your eyes open to another way of looking. David.
You can see its texture, its form.
Looking at the texture, looking at the form of something. Very good. Eric.
To see the meaning of what the art
Okay.
means.
So going beyond just details and trying to find the meaning of something. Sam.
To see things you don't normally see.
Okay, seeing things that you might not normally pay attention to. Max. Yes, now realize when you ask a friend, I'm still going to ask for your answer back. Okay. Okay, so see what's around us. Very good. Okay, can help us see the details? We write them absolutely perfect. There are lots and lots of go on to our observation drawing that we're going to get to today, I want you to realize that at the bottom paragraph, it talks about taking observation outside the art classroom, taking it, learning, using it in math, using it in biology, using it in language arts. You have that opportunity, but you must make that choice. We have been learning the skills, Nellie. Thank you. We have been learning the skills of observation. Go now to your biology class or to your science class and use those observation skills in what you're learning in science. Use them in your language arts class. Use them tomorrow and Wednesday when it ices. Go out and look and find out why is ice so beautiful when we get that, or whatever comes, okay? Go find out. Use those observation skills outside of just here. Make sure that what you're learning here is helpful to you outside of just the art classroom. 2 vocabulary words in your sketchbook that have to do for our drawing. We know what observation is, but these are our next 2 vocabulary words. Make sure you write the words. Make sure you draw a picture. An organic shape is a shape that cannot be measured in math. So it's a shape you've never learned about in math. Okay? A circle you learn about in math is not organic, but a blob is a great organic shape. I want you to draw this flower, or whatever you pick. Choice, you do not have to pick a flower. There are other choices. Okay? Whatever you pick, you're going to draw it so it goes off of the edge of all the pieces of paper. This is what some people will draw.
That's a big.
Is this enlarged? Is this observation? So this is an F. Do not draw. That's not observation, that's not good. It's cute, but it's not what we're supposed to be drawing. So I'm going to turn my paper over and actually draw it correctly. It's going to take me a while, girls. If you're going to pick a flower, don't pick one with 100 petals. Pick one that looks like this. See how this has 6 petals on it? That's what you want to draw. So that's the actual flower that I'm going to draw. You want to focus on the organic shapes. I'll hold it up when I'm done. My elbow, that's the only thing I don't like on my elbows when we go to do this assignment.
Is that how we're doing that?
That's when you know you're really drawing from observation, is you're focusing on, I'm drawing this petal, I'm drawing that petal. The shape here. I see some shapes on the inside, so I'm going to draw those. You guys will be able to see these really well from my Elmo. Make sure that as you draw each shape, you're drawing them exactly what you see. Don't make it prettier than it actually is. Okay? We will make as pretty colors, whatever you want. We won't be doing colors from observation. So that's where you get to make it before the announcement bell rings. Quickly, wherever you are, just freeze, just don't move. On the board it said that we would define vocab. Our vocab word was organic shape and enlarge. What is it, an organic shape? Say it out loud.
A shape that cannot be measured.
Thank you. And I said that we would enlarge. What does enlarge mean?
A larger size of something.
Big, very good.
Bigger than what is.
I said we'd read about art. You read about observation. You're going to go home and use those new eyes that you have.